Thank you, Matt. Thank you once again. All right, so I'm going to reconvene this meeting at 7:54 p.m. and we're going to start over from the old business. I think we were in the process of removing the cultural art program liquor license request to be added into the old business. And I think I didn't get all the ayes for the consent agenda. I think that's what I was. Vice Mayor Taylor, would you like to, just in case we need to put this video together, can you make the motion again for the consent agenda and we move from there?
Yes, I move to approve the consent agenda. Items include the Brentwood Police Department Tourist Interceptor repairs, the 2025 Cultural Arts Program schedule, and the Vision Zero resolution.
Need a second?
People have to be unmuted by, I believe, the clerk.
Okay. Larry.
There we go. I was trying my darndest to unmute. Second now.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I need one more. I see Marcus, Councilman Monroe with his hand up.
I
Aye.
have to get permission each time.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So it's pass. All right. So to make it easy for Larry, so what I would do is I'm gonna let him call the roll every time we do a motion. So next item in the agenda, it was the stipend that needs to be approved, but I think we left it at, we only have to approve the difference at $345. Is that correct, Town Administrator?
And no, ma'am.
No, okay.
We need to approve the new fees.
Okay.
The 225 to 225 for the election judge, the 275 for the chief election judge, and the hourly rate of $17.50.
Thank you. Do you get the new amount, Councilmember, Vice Mayor Taylor?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just going to stay unmuted. Can you give that amount one more time, Ms. Dorsey Washington?
We just need to approve the proposed fees. The new fees. So for the election judge, the 225, the chief judge, the 275, and then the hourly rate of $17.50.
Okay. I move to approve the new election judge fees of $225 for election judge, $275 for chief election judge, and $17.50 as the hourly rate.
I'll second that.
Any questions on this item? Hearing none, please call the roll, Mr. Moran.
Councilmember Jerry Burgess.
Yes.
Councilmember Marcus Monroe.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Keon Taylor.
Yes.
And Mayor Filomena Lopez.
Yes. So next item. The town council term limit. I know we've been dragging this can. Councilman Burgess.
Yes, just clarifying. This is what I had sent for the working session. It has nothing to do with term limits. So I just want to be clear. No term limits. Not trying to limit anybody. But I did, as you can see, just have some rough language on what I had hoped might be a referendum at some point to push forward with the staggered terms approach. As just for folks who don't know, the majority of councils and even boards across the U.S. do use staggered terms, something like 70-some%. And the main reason to do it is to provide continuity of thought and stability over time. When we have elections, there are times where perhaps an entire council overturns and there's a loss of institutional knowledge. There could be times where an entire council and the mayor also overturn. And I think that can be really hard for the next generation of leaders to be productive because they spend all of their time trying to regain lost knowledge. So this idea of staggered elections, which I know everybody on this council has talked about multiple times, I just decided to put a few words on there for folks to consider. I've run this by a few folks, just very briefly with the attorney. I've spoken a little bit to each of the council members. I think for tonight, since you're seeing this for the first time, I just wonder if there are any questions or comments.
Councilmember.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Mayor.
No, my only question will be that in let's say we are in favor, we agree. Do we have the time? Because I know if it's an ordinance, it's gonna be introduction, read, second reading, hearing. So do we have time to be able to do this and add it to the this election as a question?
Yeah, that's my main concern, Mayor. Even if we all agree, I struggle with this because I think it's really important. But not just just like the number of days it takes to get this through, but also there's an education component that you can't just put something, I don't think, just throw something on a referendum so a voter just sees that for the very first time. There has to be notice, explanation, perhaps even an out of council event where people can debate it. But I would like to find some way to move it forward somehow. Or not.
Well, I do agree with this approach. I know it's hard, but and I don't I like the staggered 4-year term. And I think we've been talking about this for many, many years, about 3 years, 4 years, who's running, War 1, War 2, all of those things. So again, that would be my only concern, because then we will have to wait. If we don't do it during this election period, we have to wait until 2027 to add it in there. It's not going to be effective for 2029. So how productive will be that? I mean, and I'm just going to refer to the attorney to help us out, to sort it out. And I don't know what's the goal, Councilman Bridges. Do you think that this might?
I think if this is a big if, because I know I don't think everybody is necessarily on board, but if we did want to go this route, I don't think we should even try to put it on the 2025 referendum. I just think that's unfair to voters. But it doesn't mean we can't advance it, and it will be put on the referendum 2 years from now with adjusted dates.
Council?
Yeah, so two things, and you hit the nail on the head for what I
I wrestled with this one last night because I started looking at the clock like everybody's talking about. The thing that I have seen a municipality do is that when it was on the ballot, it actually started the process. And what I mean by that is if for folks running in 2027, they would go into it knowing that whoever the whoever the folks that receive the highest number of votes, they start their 4-year term. And if you don't receive your two-member, if you're on the lowest part of it, you you get 4-year terms if you get the most, and then 2 years terms. So essentially, what if we just simply just change it where it's not a referendum? And I mean, it's a question for Jason, that whatever's on the ballot in 2027, it doesn't start in 2029, like it starts right then and there, which I've seen at least one other municipality do. The second point I was going to make is that I think technically we need to add the mayor into the equation. On here, when I was reading through it, I just realized it says only 2 members receiving the highest number, and then 2 members receive the 2-year term. So technically, wouldn't it be either the mayor as part of the 2 members that receive the highest number? So like mayor, in addition to 2 members who receive the highest number of votes, receive a 4-year term, and then the remaining 2. It was a bit of a math question than anything.
I think when I was working through this, I had at least this version. I had explicitly excluded the mayor from it, and only had it to the 4 council members. One, it makes this is not the reason to do it, but it does make the math a little easier. But the main reason is if you have elections every 2 years in a town like two comments. In a town like Brentwood, I think it would be really hard to get even a remotely good turnout with just 2 council members up for vote.
Mm-hmm.
And so with a mayor election, of course, gathers more attention and more people are interested in it. On the other hand, I really like the idea of making sure that there's elections every 2 years, because it makes sure that voters hold the officials accountable.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm on board with that. I support that. And that's something that previous discussions, I think at a retreat, we talked about that very point, that and I credit maybe Jason with this. The mayor having a 2-year check-in, so to speak, with the town is a good thing, right? It's like, hey, this is how things are going. So you explaining it now, so I retract my previous comment that I like. Okay, I get it now. The mayor, just as a standard, keeps a 2-year term, and then these council members switch on this math. So okay, I'm good. So, but I would like to explore. Maybe Jason can explain how we could. So if the election, how would we move this forward in a way that the 2027 election actually starts the clock? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to be like another 4 years from now until this process starts.
Okay, it says I can't start my video. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can hear you, Jason.
This is not a simple thing to do in such a short period of time between now and the election. If you were trying to get this on as a ballot measure, okay, there's going to be a high degree of education that needs to be provided to the residents to bring this aboard. Now, it can be done. I mean, you can have special meetings to truncate the approval process for something like this to go on the ballot. But the ballot measure, if it is a ballot measure, you would have to say that this will take effect in 2027. And then at that point in time, the incumbents who are in office in 2027, you may have to put some language in here to say what their terms would be, because in my head, I can't get the math together right now So if we have our election today, in May, and we want this to take effect in 2027, then which council members would be staggered at that point? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and can I clarify one? Let me frame it differently for you. What I'm suggesting is we spend the rest of the term educating, and let's say, I don't know the date on our very, very last meeting, right? We kind of have until May-ish. And so we would, in theory, pass an ordinance in May that says, and we've educated folks and we've had times to have hearings, right? That vote says that this ordinance establish a staggered 4-year term beginning in 2020 at the 2027 election cycle. But it's not a ballot measure.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
And if the council comes in and they decide to tweak it a little bit, they can, but at least we get it in the ordinance. And we, instead of trying to force it on the ballot, which we don't have time for, we just spend the next almost 2 months just simply educating and getting input. And we'll have the luxury of even maybe hearing candidates talk about it at a forum. You know what I mean? We have multiple opportunities to get that. And I don't know if Councilman Burgess, would that solve your concern? If we spent sort of the rest of our time just educating people and discussing it, and then we can do an up or down vote at, hopefully at one point here for the ordinance in that timeline.
Yeah, I think so. I think that does. It puts a little bit of burden on the next council to enact something that may or may not have been their highest priority, but that's the luxury of being in office at this time, I guess.
and that's true. The one other thing that you can do, and I don't know if there's any an appetite for this, but there's nothing stopping you, I don't believe, of having a special election for this ballot measure. Okay. So if you want to educate the public and then maybe have it a special election on this issue, say a year from now, you can do that. I mean, I just want to let you know it doesn't have to be, and I don't have the code in front of me, but I don't think there's anything that prohibits a ballot measure on its own for a special election.
That's a good point, because 2026 is a big election year. That's
I like that.
The House. Yeah.
So you can think about doing it that way.
I'm supportive of that. I think if the ordinance just explains it, would the ordinance have to clarify? Or are you saying that the ordinance spells that out?
Well, whatever we need to put it in a referendum, okay, the ballot question. All right. And if we need to do it by ordinance to put together a ballot measure, and a special election will do that, but I'm not sure if that is what we need to do or if that's required. And we can definitely look into that. But what it does is it allows the residents to weigh in on this, okay, and to be the deciding vote on this. And there are other municipalities who have done this, and they've done it by referendum, okay, so that the residents have they're the decision makers on how long they want their elected officials to be in. And there's a lot that goes along with this. I mean, you're going to have to come up with wards and so forth. And I think you're going to need an expert to come in and divide the town up into wards.
I don't think we're proposing wards. I think it's all at large, correct? Councilmember Burgess?
Yes.
All right. Yes. That makes it easy. That makes it easy.
Too tiny for wards, I think.
That's what I would think, yeah. But yeah, so I mean, you can definitely do it that way, by have a special election, and do it. You don't have to confine it to the 2 months. Now it will go and bleed into the next administration, but it leaves it up to the residents to make this very important decision.
Got it.
Yeah, I quite like that. All right, so next steps, just so we don't consume the whole night on this topic.
Well, what I can do is do some research to see what we need to do to get this as referendum on a for a special election. If you want me to do that, or I mean, you can have staff do it, or you can have me do it, and then report out on what the next steps would be with something like that, so you can try to put a timeline together.
Mayor, is it okay if the attorney helps with this? She's muted. Larry, help her, please.
I got it. Yes. Yes, I am in favor of that. And excited at the same time.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I will perform that research.
Jason, are you open to a little dialogue via email about this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Any help? Any questions? Absolutely.
Yeah, well, my only, not question, but well, maybe a question. If we decide to put this a referendum in 2026 election, well, just keep in mind that not everybody that comes to our polling place is a Brentwood resident. It's Brentwood zip code, but not really Brentwood resident. It could be North Brentwood, Carter City. So I just want to put that out there.
That's a good point, Mayor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Solid.
All right. Well, thank you first. Any other question before I move to the next item? Okay. I move to the next one. And that will be the Town of Brentwood lamplighter advertisement. And
if I may, I'll speak a little bit.
Oh.
Do you want to take the lead?
Nope. Go for it, Larry.
All right. So during the last meeting, give me 1 second. Councilmember Burgess?
Yes, thank you.
During the last meeting, Councilmember Rauch, and I forget who else inquired about advertising a newsletter. I know Councilmember Jerry Burgess said sometimes it feels like reading a newspaper. So I kind of made a few calls. Believe it or not, I called just about every town within distance of us. Edmiston, Glenarden, Capitol Heights, Bladensburg, College Park, Riverville Park, Niceville. So what I've noticed, there's 3 towns that use LPI. It's a company that does the advertising for the town. So instead of the town reaching out to businesses in the town, they come out, they survey the businesses in town and say, hey, we can offer you a full page, half page, or a small section on the newsletter. Now it does come for a little hefty price, but it's a yearly price. For a full ad, it's $4,000 or $5,000 between that range. For a half page, it's between $2,000 to $3,000, and for a small section, not too big, maybe like a job ad on a newspaper, it's $400 a year. Now the reason I say that is currently for us, we pay $1,000, about $1,350 every month to print our newsletter. That $1,350 does include the postage. If we wanted to outsource the newsletter's advertisement, 1, we won't get the revenue, and 2, the town would have to pay for the postage. That could vary between $1 to $3, depending on what type of paper we want. If it's a 50-pound weight or a 70-pound. But with newsletter, it can be a 12-page or a 14-page. If we go up to a 16-page. If we go up to a 16-page, the cost will be roughly $1,900. And 2 of those pages can be used for ads. I'm just not sure what price range we would want to tackle, or if we want to follow the same thing and be a yearly cost or a monthly cost.
Anyone? I know there's one, the businesses approached me and asked me about why we were not including their community events. And there was like kind of like at their business, they're not, I'm talking about the Tom Yard gym, the boxing gym. So they have, my understanding is that now they have secured their nonprofit status. So, and that's the question that it was, that how we can identify what is a community event to invite families, or this is a business promoting services. So it was kind of like.
And if I may, speaking with Berwyn Heights, they don't have any language that identifies what they can and can't publish in the newsletter.
Larry, could you say that again? I didn't quite follow you.
So Berwyn Heights is one of the ones that had a few quite ads. So when I called them, I asked if they have any language surrounding what can and what can't be advertised. And they said they have no language regarding that matter.
Did you get that language?
No, they don't have
any.
Oh, they don't have it. I just couldn't. Oh, okay. Thank you. All right.
I think my biggest concern is for smaller businesses. I don't want it to be cost prohibitive for them to not be able to do it. I would like to be able to showcase some of the smaller businesses more, but I do agree with the mayor that we need to figure out what the parameters are. Like, I don't think we should do political advertisement and things like that. And also, I guess this may be a question for Jason. If we allow for, if we have a business that advertises in our newsletter, say for example, if a resident uses that business, they have a bad experience. Because we allow them to advertise in our newsletter, is there any way that we could be liable for publicizing their business?
Somebody can certainly try, okay, but it's sort of the same thing that when you see in newspapers back in the old days when we had newspapers. You got your newspaper, there was advertising all over the place in there, okay? Just by virtue of allowing them to advertise, you are not adopting their qualifications or anything like that, okay? And we may have to have some sort of disclaimer put in the newsletter stating that.
Yeah, that we're not endorsing any business, but
right.
It's advertisement.
Yep.
Those prices did sound high. But I'm sorry, go ahead, Councilman Burgess.
The only other thing that I have to add is I looked up the town that I last lived in before I came to Brentwood, and they do have some policies about what they allow in there. Such as whoever submits it must be a resident of the town. The organization that is implicated must be located within the town. They have to be has to be a lawful organization. It can't be for marketing products or making a profit. So this fits in with the mayor's nonprofit thing. And they're accepted on an ongoing basis until space runs out. I'm not pushing any of those things, just saying that there are some guidelines out there that we could put together and I think make this happen within a reasonable amount of time.
I like those that you just provided. I feel comfortable with those.
I think the only other thing that I can that stood out on that town's language is they did have some things on there like the notices can't have profane language, sexual content, content that promotes discrimination on all sorts of levels, political, no defamatory statements, et cetera, all the things that we would find undesirable. if you like, I can pluck those and put them in a Word document and send them to the clerk, for instance, for him to start work. I know, I'm just not sure what the action item is here. Are we trying to create a policy? Is that what we need? Oh, the poor mayor muted. Yeah.
Yes, we would definitely have to create a policy. And then the other piece to this that I just want to just reiterate in regard to the cost, because obviously we would go with the second option, which is cheaper. And so we're currently our newsletter is about 12 pages and we're paying $1,400 for that. And they only allow us to go from 12 pages to 16 pages.
Yeah, it goes up.
And so those 16 pages, that's going to cost us a little over $1,800. So we're talking about additional $430 a month. And so I guess my question would be, do we want to try to keep it at 12 pages and we scale back what we're putting in the newsletter, and so that we can accommodate some ads? Or do we just shift to the 16 pages?
I think shifting to the 16 concerns me only because that's a lot of space if we don't have have at least people lined up from the gate to do it. That's a lot of space. That's a pretty hefty cost to absorb if we don't have enough stuff to fill it. That's my only
concern.
I was concerned about not concerned. My thing was fees and policy. Those are the two things that we need to work. And then my comment on what Vice Mayor said is, 16 is too many pages. And then the other thing to consider is like maybe we just want to do one page and offer just quarter of that page to start with and see how that works. That was just my thought.
I was thinking that same thing.
Yeah, that sounds all right to me. The only thing that I think I can add is back in the Councilmember Orlano days, I think, I don't know if it ever got in writing, but I think he proposed some kind of fee schedule that was something like this. A 2x3 ad cost $40. A 4x3 ad costs $50. A 7x3 ad was $75. Something like some kind of gradational scale like that. Are we looking to create something like that now? Should that be part of the policy?
Maybe.
All right, I'll take a stab at this then and send it around.
Okay. And would ads, so our newsletter, we translate it. Would we be required to translate ads? Or do we just accept them the way that they are?
Okay.
Yeah, we just
accept them the way they are.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I guess this is gonna be continue in the and bring it back to the work session.
Mayor, may I ask one quick question?
Sure.
And this is to the TA. Shelley, do we have a fee schedule at the moment? What are we doing with these advertisements that get in the Lamplighter?
So, well, no, we don't have a fee schedule.
Okay, all right. Just double checking. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Moran, we're gonna table this item for the next work session in April.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, so we'll move to the cultural arts liquor license request. I know we discussed this item, but I will open the floor for more comments or discussion.
I have a question. This is Vice Mayor. Ms. Dorsey Washington, I don't recall if we discussed how much the license would cost. in the previous meeting?
Yes, I had mentioned it. It was $75 for a day license, and this is just for beer and wine. It does not include liquor.
Okay. I know Councilman Burgess is going to vote this down, but I am comfortable making the motion if we are so inclined.
Well, I'm only one vote, so I think it will likely pass. So I think I would encourage you to make the motion.
Okay. Well, I didn't know I didn't want to, and if there was further discussion that folks wanted to have. But if we feel comfortable moving forward, I'm okay with making the motion. Okay.
Yep.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm looking down on the agenda. I move to give the town administrator authority to acquire a one-day liquor license for the cultural arts programming in the town of Brentwood.
Second that.
Any other comment?
Well, I'll clarify my vote. Also, just out of respect for Councilmember Burgess here, because I know his stance on it. I do understand the cause and concern. I would say mostly my vote is based on having gone to other municipal events like beer gardens or arts festivals where the town or municipality, sort of had a permit to do it. And so I've seen it work okay. But I definitely agree that, anytime in the future, if it's getting out of hand, the town should revisit this concept. But I'm hoping that this puts a good precedent in place where we can have this sort of thing happen and not diminish the town's spirit or vibe or the way we do family-friendly activities. So just wanted to add that in.
Appreciate that.
All right. Any other comment? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Jerry Burgess,
No.
Councilmember Marcus Monroe,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kiana Taylor,
Yes.
and Mayor Filomena Lopez.
Yes. Thank you. So move. Okay, the next one. Vision Zero resolution. Motion to approve the Vision Zero resolution.
Councilmember Monroe, was this your item?
I go back to the agenda for a moment. I did not recommend this, and I'm trying to think.
It may have been Councilmember Rauch.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If no one's taking it, we can table.
She ain't joined it.
All right, so let's table Vision Zero resolution. I'm not sure exactly.
Well, I mean, it was just supposed to be passed, but I don't think there was any discussion needed other than once it was included in the consent agenda, we just needed to move it forward and get, any volunteer residents. Basically, we just needed to move forward, but I don't think there was any discussion needed.
Oh, okay. I was reading the consent agenda, not the old business.
Oh.
That's my bad. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm like, what is this? I know we discussed this thing.
I had the wrong agenda.
Oh my God. Yes, I had the wrong agenda.
That's why I paused. I was like, wait, it's
yeah,
on
me
business?
too. I was like, oh, what? Okay, yeah. All right, because that no from Councilman Burgess concerns me.
Quit.
38 place RSP. We already heard from our town administrator, but we open that up again. Or unless we can just skip it because I know you gave us our update. Questions from the
yes,
council?
I don't have any additional information.
Okay.
To add.
Let me move to the next one, which is voting ordinance. And this is the 2025-02 amending chapter 305 vehicles and traffic, although the chief is not here, but this is the second reading and passage. I think we did the second reading during previous meeting, so I guess at this point I just it's going to be a motion to approve the ordinance.
Sorry, I move to approve ordinance 2025-02, amending chapter 305, vehicles and traffic.
Second.
Adding. Okay, any questions regarding the ordinance? Hearing none, I will have Mr. Moran to call the roll.
He's probably muted himself.
Roll call. Sorry. So, Councilmember Burgess,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcus Monroe,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Keon Taylor,
Yes.
and Mayor Rocio Lopez.
Yes. So it's approved. Move to the other one, which is the voting of ordinance 2025-03, amending, repealing, and reenacting penalties, fees in ordinance 2023-04, traffic calming measures.
I move to approve ordinance 2025-03, amending, repealing, reenacting penalties and fees in ordinance 2023-04, traffic calming measures. Adding penalties and, oh, I said that, yes.
Second.
All right, Councilman Rose second. So any question? Hearing none, I will have town clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Jerry Burgess,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcus Monroe,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Keon Taylor,
Yes.
and Mayor Rocio Lopez.
Yes. Next item will be voting on ordinance 2017-05, mayor and town council salary increase. And then the motion has to say that this is gonna go into the referendum of 2025 election.
Mayor, just want a point of clarification on the, and I didn't catch this before, the ordinance 2017-05.
That is a typo. We thought we fixed it before, Mr. Moran.
So it's 2025-07. It was
Okay.
basically just an amendment to 2017-05.
Okay.
Oh, was I looking at the wrong agenda? Hang on, I'm sorry. Do I need to do it again?
Yes.
Okay, give me a second.
Because we have to add there that this is an amendment to the 2023 of dash.
I'm redoing the motion for H.
You're reading the motion for I.
For I.
Okay, I'm
I
sorry.
just didn't
Yeah,
want us to say 2017 into the motion and it not be clear
I
of
don't
what
have
the.
that. Okay, I move to I'm sorry. Wait a minute, y'all. We're voting on the ordinance tonight?
Yes.
Okay, so
we already had the hearing. Yes.
I'm voting to adopt the ordinance and
correct.
Vote. Okay, I vote to adopt ordinance 2025-07, mayor and town council salary increase, which will go on the ballot as a referendum question in the 2025 election.
Any question? Nope. Mr. Moran?
Councilmember Jerry Burgess,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcus Monroe, Vice Mayor Keon Taylor,
Yes.
and Mayor Fitzmayor Lopez.
Yes.
And then
Do
I
we
might have
re-
missed. Did we do H by chance? No. Or did we skip it?
No, I did H.
No, he did.
I
She
did
did
it?
H. Yes. It's
No, ma'am,
three.
sorry. I did F and G. I didn't do H.
It's too tight. It's too tiny in there. Okay.
That's why I like the gas. That's why I like the gas.
That's my bad. I think I messed everybody up when I jumped into I.
No, it's
all
okay.
right. Okay. Please record Councilmember Monroe vote for I. All right. So let's do H. Voting on the ordinance 2025-04. Yes, it's two of them. Amending chapter 305, vehicles and traffic, adding penalty fee to ordinance 2024-03.
I vote to adopt ordinance 2025-04, amending chapter 305, vehicles and traffic, adding penalties and fees to ordinance 2024-03.
Need a second?
Second.
Any question? Mr. Moran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Jerry Burgess,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcus Monroe,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kiana Taylor,
Yes.
and Mayor Fitzmayor Lopez.
Yes. All right, so we covered the 4 ordinance that we have. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now move to the next item in the agenda, which is Brentwood. I need a motion to approve the Brentwood Fire Department request.
This is the funding request for $2,500.
Yes.
I move to approve $2,500 payment to the Brentwood Volunteer Fire Department.
Second.
Okay. Question?
Yeah, I guess less of a question and more of a, I guess we need to make sure we talk about this moving forward in the budget. And I do want some consideration to go towards how we bridge the gap between the two. Well, let me say my words carefully here. Like the perceived gap between the two volunteer companies. I think what can we do as a town to work with other municipalities to support the volunteers, but for it to be a little bit more unified. So I just want to make that comment.
Yes, and thank you for bringing that. In the past, we tried to bring together Mount Rainier, Cottage City, but I think only North Brentwood and Brentwood were actually supporting. So I don't know how we can address, or maybe we need to reconvene another meeting just to see how we can continue supporting the volunteer. And just make sure, Larry, that in the Brentwood Fire Department, you put there is for the volunteer. Just in case, because that's what the motion was. And then if you have to do humanities for the Brentwood Fire, is Brentwood Volunteer Fire Department. All right. Any other question, comment? Hearing none, Mr. Moran, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Jerry Burgess.
Here.
Councilmember Marcus Monroe.
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, here. Yes. Yes.
Vice Mayor Kiana Taylor.
Yep.
And Mayor Fitzmayor Lopez.
Yes. So move. Thank you. So the next item is a motion to, I guess, approve employment to attend the police academy enrollment and reimbursement.
Are we, Jason, are we to name the employee or no in the motion? Are we just approving the policy? Oh my goodness.
Just approve the policy.
Okay, Mr. Moran, I'm sorry, my agenda vanished. I don't know if it went down for everybody. I appreciate you. Okay. I move to approve the Employee Police Academy enrollment and reimbursement. Do we have the reimbursement amount, Ms. Dorsey Washington? I know we discussed it in the last meeting. I don't have my notes in front of me.
Yes, so I believe the cost is $4,580.
For $4,600.
Yes. So, and did everyone get a chance to review the reimbursement agreement?
I read over it very quickly.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what
okay.
I mean, I don't know if we need to just for the sake
Oh,
of
no,
calling
no,
the
no.
meeting.
I'm just making
Oh.
sure that everyone received it.
Oh, got it.
Motion on the floor for $4,600. Did anybody second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Questions anymore? No, Mr. Moran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Jerry Burgess,
Sturdy, yes.
Councilmember Marcus Monroe,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Keanu Taylor,
Yes.
and Mayor Lopez.
Yes, so moved. Thank you. Now we're moving to the new business, Town of Brentwood phone system. Town administrator.
Okay. So we've been with Mitel for quite a few years. They were bought out by Ring Central. And I believe that buyout took place some time ago. However, I guess they're changing their fee structure to the Ring Central structure. They're no longer honoring Mitel. That being said, our monthly phone service has jumped up to $700 from $435. And so the clerk took the initiative, thank you so much, town clerk, to research some other options. And what we found is Spectrum. There's some other companies out there that we wasn't very familiar with, but Spectrum is a reputable company. And they were able to provide us a quote where they could provide basically the same service for $484 or $485 a month. And so Ring Central wants us to renew with them, and that's, obviously that's not the recommendation that we renew with Ring Central. So I don't think the decision needs to be made tonight, but we at least wanted to put this information out there. Larry, do you happen to have copies of the proposals? Because we do have a proposal from Ring Central and from Spectrum.
Yeah, I'm pulling them up both right now.
Oh, okay. So, in the Ring Central proposal, now I don't know if it looks like they may be giving us some kind of a discount because this price is $625.84. However, I know that we're currently paying $699.01 to them. Larry, do you know when we have to make a decision with Ring Central? Did they give a deadline?
There's no deadline with them.
Oh, okay.
And they did call me today, but they did say that they can go down a little bit more, but I don't think they can go this low.
Okay. Well, we're already paying their new fees, the higher fees. It's just in terms of having an agreement, which I guess, includes servicing of equipment or maintaining the equipment.
Yeah, so I'm trying to find the Ring Central one, but basically Ring Central, we'll get new phones. We can use the same ones, of course, but some of them are a little outdated per se. Not necessarily too outdated, but um, they'll be giving us new phones and the new pricing. Give me one. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick.
The phones are included in this proposal, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So their monthly pricing is 400 and I'm just going to round it, $485, which actually includes new equipment.
All right. So I have Ring Central's is up.
And I assume we have to return the equipment to Ring Central.
So this is $625 per month.
That's per month.
Yes.
And I will say some of the phones we do have, we are renting out. With Spectrum, they give us the phones, and then in 5 years they'll automatically update to a new version for us at no cost.
Okay.
And so and just FYI, there is no upfront one-time only cost of some, astronomical amount.
Mr. Moran, can we go back? Okay. So Miss Dorsey Washington, so you're recommending that we go with, oh, I can't see it anymore. Mr. Moran, can we go back to what we had on the screen a moment ago? With the quotes?
So this is Spectrum, and then the other one is Ring Central.
I can't see it at
Yeah.
all. That's not what's on your screen. Your screen is on the town website.
There we go.
Okay. All right. So we will be making the motion to go with Ring Central, or are you recommending the other vendor?
So cost-wise, it would be Spectrum. And then with Spectrum, we do get 4 wireless phones, 9 the cords, and then there is a conference phone that comes with that as well.
Okay, can we see that quote, Mr. Moran? We're looking at the Ring Central. Are we able to see the? Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is $484.74 monthly. Yeah, so roughly like $6,000. Wait, my math might be wrong, y'all. Hang on.
6,000.
6,000. I was right. Okay. So should I just make the motion for the 6,000 for the year? Not to exceed 6,000 for the year?
Yes.
I move to convert our phone operating system to Spectrum in the amount not to exceed $6,000 per year.
I'll second that.
Any questions in regards to this? Is this going to be an agreement, a contract? What is this, Mr. Moran?
So it'll be an agreement.
Okay.
You have it. I'll just have to get in the Word file, send it to an attorney.
Okay, so we're gonna approve the amount, and then we're gonna, what the attorney will just check the language on that agreement.
Should I add that to the motion? Pending legal
review.
Legal review by our attorney.
And Mayor, Council, and I do apologize that we're dropping this on you last minute. I wasn't aware it was an issue, but Ring Central, I think, started blowing up our phones and our email boxes I guess the middle of last week. And the town clerk was gracious enough to reach out to them to find out, exactly what all the issues were. And so we kind of scrambled to see if we could come up with a better option because the cost had increased so much.
Thank you guys for being proactive on that.
And if I may, one big key that I forgot. These calls with Spectrum are recorded. So once we're done with a call, we can download them. And I know that'll be beneficial for the police department. And it's a funny thing, but the rep said if the guy looks at us wrong, the first day he comes in to install the phones, we can go ahead and cancel our agreement.
Just have to be careful recording conversations. Okay, if we're doing that, you're going to have one of those. We'll talk about it, but one
like
of
the
those
pre-recorded thing that says phone
That's right.
calls may be monitored for quality assurance or whatever.
That's right.
He's got it down.
I've heard it so many times.
I think that you the recording voice. You sound like it. All right, so I guess any other question before we call the roll? Hear none. Mr. Moran?
Councilmember Sherry Burgess,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcus Monroe,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kiana Taylor,
Yes.
and Mayor Virginia Lopez.
Yes. So move. Right, our next one is 4509 39th Street, resident request. Mr. Moran, do you have the petition up? Just gonna give a little bit of context. I spoke to Mr. Romero a few weeks back, and he was explaining to me that he had different conversation with former town administrator, and I guess they had some communication issues. But when the sidewalk was completed, we did not let the apron for him to make a driveway. So he doesn't have driveway, and he's requesting to get the curb cut for him to be able to build a driveway.
So I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I'm clear. When the sidewalk was done, we were supposed to allow him to have a curb cut installed at that time, and it didn't happen? Yes.
And he requested, I guess, to former town administrator, but I guess there were some, that's what he explained, that he probably didn't understand, and while the construction was happening and they built it. So that's what he explained to me.
Has anyone reached out to the previous town administrator to get more information or to corroborate or disprove this?
No, ma'am. That's something that he mentioned to me, and then I look at his property. I think he's one of the there's only 2 properties on 39 that don't have driveway, and that's one of them.
do we have a, so are you asking us if, what is the ask? Are you asking us if we will allow the curb cut? Is he asking for us to pay for the curb cut?
Well, according to the town charter, we are the only ones that can cut the curb. The town has to cut the curb.
Was there an existing driveway?
No.
So does he need to go through the county application process first?
He needs, in order for him to apply, well, that's, I don't know. I guess in order for him to apply, he needs to get the curb cut. I'm not sure. Jason, can you help us on this one? Because I know I read something.
And while Jason's being unmuted, do we have any photos or anything that accompanied this
No.
diagram?
Okay, sorry about that. I couldn't unmute. So the question was whether or not they have to go, he has to get any permitting or anything from the county. Was that
to install a driveway? I believe that requires county permit.
Yep.
It requires a county permit, and I do not think he can get one without having that curb cut for a driveway, because they usually do those in advance. And I don't, not knowing.
Yeah, that's the property.
Okay, so I mean, so it was intentional that he doesn't have a curb cut because he doesn't have a driveway. So he wants to install one, so that he's looking up for approval for that.
Yes.
So my only questions would be, how this may impact how, water drainage and things like that, because obviously they're going to have to move some earth. And so I don't think we're in a position where we could just say, oh yeah, go for it. Just do it. I think we got to have some research. I would like to have an opportunity to go and look at the property, to take a look at the grading of it, and maybe get those pictures that I believe Vice Mayor was just mentioning. Well, we have pictures here, but I don't know. I think I'll get a feel for it in person. But ultimately it's you guys' decision. But I would have concerns because this is a street that floods, right? Is this an area that floods?
Honestly, they all flood.
They all flood in that area. Yeah. But the other houses, they do have, I think this is the only one in that block that doesn't have driveway.
Oh, I see. Okay. I see that one.
Yeah.
And the other one on the other side of
And the other side has driveway too.
Okay. So, yeah.
So I think other house.
I'm sorry, go ahead,
more. It's only one more house down the block that doesn't have driveway. So I know it's two in that block, but
so is he going to pay for the curb cut?
No, well, that's why we need to go back to what the our charter says, or that when it comes to driveways, aprons only, town permit is required to modify your driveway, apron and curb. So I'm not sure, because that's the only thing that I could find.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that the town should pick up the cost for it.
Yeah. So I have a couple of concerns. One concern is I agree with Mrs. Dorsey Washington. I don't think we should be paying for it. But if the expectation is that we pay for it, I really do think that we need to have a conversation with the previous town administrator and find out more about what this gentleman may have been promised. I also would I'm looking at the way
No,
that
no,
this
no. I don't
house-
think he said any promise. He said that he attempted to talk to the previous person. So when they were building this, he was asking not to raise the sidewalk and allow him to have the apron.
In that case, I definitely don't think that the town should be paying for it. And I'm not even, I mean, I know that we're saying that the curb cut has to be there in order to get the permit, but I would like to know if he would even be able to qualify to get the driveway, because the county is so particular about green space before we permit anything. Because we're setting a precedent with this. And I just think we need to tread lightly.
Yeah, I need to do a little more digging too. I'm looking at the charter right now, trying to find out anything, and all I can really find is that express permission from the council has to be done to remove any curb, gutter, or sidewalk. And I just feel a little ill prepared to comment much more on this with just a 2-second purview of the online charter, if that makes sense. I just kind of feel like I need to know more information.
Right, so are we going to table this item so that way we can gather more information?
I think that might be the best thing to do.
Yeah.
So it will reappear at which next meeting? So we need to be
the work session. I guess we need to bring it back.
Okay,
and get all the findings.
Okay.
So, and there's some guidelines too, and I'm wondering if maybe that's why a driveway wasn't installed, if the property doesn't meet these guidelines. But that's something we can check into also, Mayor.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right, we're gonna table that item and we move to the next. And the next one is the town hall solar panels repairs. Need a motion to approve funding.
This is the item we discussed earlier, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I just went back and looked at the estimates that the TA gave us a few months ago now, and I believe that she's probably quite right saying we should set a number around 5,500. Ooh, Larry's putting 6. Wow.
Councilmember Burgess, did you want to make this motion? If not, I'm more than happy to.
No, you've been really good at making motions tonight. I think you should just keep rolling.
I move to approve $5,500 for town hall solar panel repairs. This is at the existing building.
Yes. Second.
Question.
I'm sorry, line item to be determined by the treasurer.
Please call the roll.
Was there a question? No.
No questions.
Councilmember Jerry Burgess.
Strong yes.
Councilmember Marcus Monroe.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kiana Taylor.
Yes.
And Mayor Filomena Lopez.
Yes. Let's repair and move that out of the way. All right, next item, Town of Brentwood 2025 municipal election budget. Mr. Moran is looking to get approved funding for the election 2025.
So during last meeting, I know we discussed purchasing banners and whatnot. I did reach out to a few folks. I know Mount Rainier has theirs out, and New Carrollton said that they do the same thing. But Councilmember Burgess, anything else that you found?
No, I did a lot of digging. I think we were fine.
Okay. So the average cost for that is about, depending how nice you want the material, but it can be 60 to 80 bucks. I think 3 would be ideal for the town, just to kind of remind everyone about that election date. And yard signs, we're looking to purchase 20 yard signs saying election date. And that cost will be $950.
All right, so we need a motion to approve $950.
I move to approve $950 for the purpose of election signage for the 2025 Brentwood municipal election.
Second.
All right, any question? Nope. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Jerry Burgess,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcus Monroe, Vice Mayor Keon Taylor,
Yes.
and Mayor Lucia Mia Lopez.
Yes. So move. Thank you. All right, again, Mr. Moran, Town of Brentwood 2025 municipal election updates.
So updates, we are looming down to the final 3 days for candidate signage sign up. So far we only have 3 candidates that have submitted. I'm hoping we can get a few more as time goes by. We have outlined a date for the candidate forum. Now we're working on the location just to make sure everyone can participate as a resident. And then as far as voter registration days, I know it's TBD now. It still is kind of TBD, but the place is being considered as mixed food hall and the upstairs floor on the dump yard, just so that way you can serve both areas of the town, so Perry and Quincy, and then you have Volta and 38th. Fingers crossed. And that's where we sit with that.
All right, questions? Nothing, Mr. Moran. You got this.
Fingers crossed.
Nope, nobody. All right, so any last comments that you have received?
No comments.
No comments. All right, anyone else for the good of the order? All right, so I guess I'm going to need a motion to adjourn the meeting of the mayor and council.
Are we
Vice
adjourned
Mayor.
into closed session?
Do we have anything?
It was on the agenda. I was just asking.
I think we just leave it there in case we have to go into a closed session.
Okay. I
Come on,
think someone
Vice
had a
Mayor.
question.
You can do it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had a question. I moved to adjourn of the mayor and council at 9:13 p.m.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you so
night,
much.
everybody.
Night, folks.